that says human beings, common people, can do the uncommon. But also, we have the evidence in our testimony, in our student body, that people have healed themselves of all kinds of chronic health conditions, from stage 4 cancer, not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, not 5 times, not 6 times, over and over again. Blind people seeing, deaf people hearing, over and over again. Tumors shrinking and disappearing in the brain, in the lungs, in different parts of the body. MS, Parkinson's disease, lupus, rare genetic disorders, Graves' disease, Hashimoto's syndrome, diverticulitis, food allergies, acid reflux, arrhythmias, heart palpitations, kidney failure, leukemia. We have seen dramatic changes when people all of a sudden begin to speculate what's possible when they change how they think, how they act, and how they feel. And they're changing their personality. And the disease literally exists in the old personality. There's somebody else. By the same means, we have testimony from people in this work that have created new jobs, that have gone from bankruptcy to abundance. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but over and over again. They applied the formula and they just generated wealth. And that was their passion. And they knew that they couldn't take lack into their future, that was a story that they had to stop telling. Because as long as they kept telling the story of their past, it got in the way of the story of their future, because they were reaffirming their identity based on the past. And so then not only does it have measurable effects in the most intimate thing you have that you're wearing called your body, but when it starts to produce outward effects in different areas of your life, all of a sudden this work becomes instrumental. It's no longer doing the meditation to please God or do the right thing. People are doing the meditations to get whole. That every reason for us coming here is not for wealth, it's not for success, it's not for popularity, it's not to heal, it's not to have a new relationship or a new job, it's who you become in the process. And the overcoming is the challenge of getting beyond the self. And in these events, in these workshops, we give people numerous opportunities to overcome themselves. We give you numerous opportunities to connect to that invisible field of information that is within you and all around you. And the process of doing everything but the formula is what has to be eliminated. And it is that reduction from all the unconscious habits that purifies the formula to make it so simple. And it is a pruning process neurologically in the brain of consistently catching yourself. And most people don't want to become conscious because it feels uncomfortable when they do. They would rather turn on their cell phone or get on the phone and complain to somebody or watch TV or watch a soccer game or go shopping, do something out there to take away that feeling inside of them. And yet, students in this work that understand this, and they're willing to sit in that discomfort, and instead of throwing in a program and going unconscious and doing something that's known and familiar, that's habituated, they're willing to sit in that discomfort and get beyond their body, get beyond the problems in their life, and get beyond time itself. And that's part of the formula. So we have testimony now in our student body that there's examples of truth, that it works, and that these people, that common people around the world that are doing the uncommon look just like us, that nobody is excluded from this phenomenon. And so we have evidence then in our testimony, we have evidence in our 3-dimensional reality of scientific tests that we've done. We've left footprints in the quantum field, information, the memory bank of the quantum where everything exists as a memory. That database has footprints for us to step into that's closer to us because we have real life people doing it. And when you see someone stand on the stage, shall we get somebody on the stage to tell a story? And when you see somebody stand on the stage and tell their story, and it's not glamorous, and it's not a Hollywood version, and they lost everything, and they had all kinds of challenges and problems in their life, but they persevered. That they went on in spite of it, and they had every reason to quit. They had every reason to feel fear. They had every reason to be doubtful. They had every excuse that they didn't have enough time. They didn't feel good. They were too sick. They had every reason to stop, but they went on anyway. And they believed in themselves. And when you believe in yourself, you believe in possibility. And when you believe in possibility, you have to believe in yourself. And so these people chose themselves every single day, and they made the effort to overcome some aspect of some unconscious thought, some awareness of some automatic habit or behavior, some noticing or observation of some emotion that's bringing them to a lower energy field, to a lower level, and they went after it every single day. Every single day. And they understood if the environment is that strong, that the first step would be to close their eyes in the morning instead of starting their routine day, grabbing their cell phone and checking all their messages, that they would close their eyes and disconnect from the outer environment and be defined by thought alone. And if there's less sensory information going into the brain because the eyes are closed and there's earplugs in or there's music in the background, all of a sudden now, the less sensory information from the outer environment begins to slow brain waves down from that high beta brainwave pattern that's aroused by the hormones of stress into more of a slower beta brainwave pattern. And then ultimately then, as they begin to slow their brain waves down, they move into alpha. In beta, the outer world is more real than the inner world. In alpha, the inner world starts becoming more real than the outer world. And in beta, we hear this person, this voice talking into our head, telling us what to do. In neuroscience, that's called the default mode network in the brain. When we do our meditations properly, we get beyond that analytical mind, that critical mind. And it's the conscious mind separated from the conscious mind by the analytical mind. And the subconscious mind is where all those habits, emotional reactions, and unwanted behaviors and hardwired attitudes exist. And if you're in beta brainwave patterns, you're separate from the operating system to change it. So you got to learn how to slow your brainwaves down from beta to alpha. And when you do, now your inner world becomes more real than your outer world, and that voice in your head tends to go away, and you tend to think in imagery, in pictures, in streams of consciousness, kind of like in an imaginary state. How many people are with me? Now you're in the dreaming state, the creative state. Now, if your body falls asleep and your mind stays awake, like you did today, very nicely, by the way, then all of a sudden you're in theta brainwave patterns. And theta is when your body's resting. When it's resting and almost asleep and you're still awake. That little door, that little window that you can linger around. And when you do this properly, the activity in this memory bank of the known self, the identity, what plugs you into three-dimensional reality, a reflection of everything known. The lights go out in this part of the brain when you're in theta. And theta is a very suggestible state. And suggestibility is your ability to accept, believe, and surrender to information without analyzing it. So if you want to reprogram your autonomic nervous system, you got to open the door. And if you're in beta, you're analyzing and not going anywhere. How many people understand? And you've had the direct experience of that, yes? And you're almost like you want to go to sleep. And if you can resist the urge to sleep and stay standing up, you're getting very close to the door. Are you with me still? So then, in this state, where you have the ability to sit your body down and not get up and eat, not get up and drink anything, not get up and smell anything, not get up and feel different things and experience different things, that's even less sensory information coming in. Yes or no? But here you go, you sit down to do the work, you sit down to do your meditation, your body's on a program. And it says, all right, it's been 5 minutes, you're busy. You got emails to check, you got a lot of things to do today, you got to shop, you got to take the garbage out, you got a lot to do. And all of a sudden you notice your body in a program like the urge to get up. It wants to get up because it's been getting up like that for the last 20 years. And now you're making it sit like an animal, telling it, stay, I'll feed you, but you got to stay. And now, all of a sudden, you're creating a distinction, a separation between you as your body and you as the governor or the ruler of your body. Different game. Now you're telling the body it's no longer the mind. You're the mind. And when you resist the urge to get up and do something, and you bring your body back down into the present moment, and you execute a will that's greater than that program, that's a victory. And the body's getting trained by a new mind, and it doesn't like it. And then it says, I'm going to die in the meditation. Dr. Joe's a liar. This is all crap, everybody's drinking the Kool-Aid. I want to quit, You know how that goes. What's that lady doing over there? I'm not getting any of that, all that stuff. That's the body going, quit, quit, quit. We don't want to sit still. There's so much more entertaining things to do. There's so many more stimulations. And you tell your body, no, we're not getting up yet. And the body says, well, look, it's 11 o'clock in the morning. This is where you usually throw your fit. And all those emails you check with all those people, you got to judge them all. Just judge them all. And now you're sitting in a meditation and you're off schedule. So now you're not getting the stimulation from your routine. So the body says, well, I'll do it for you. Let me just bring up some memories of your ex. Why not just get into that, bastard? And then next thing you know, here you go. And it's just a memory that's trying to reaffirm that addiction back to the known. Are you with me still? And you tell your body, that's all you got? That's it? That's what you're going to do today? That's it? That's all you got? Let's go. Let's go. Come on, game on. And you remember that where you place your attention is where you place your energy. And the moment you start putting your attention on those emotions or those memories, you're siphoning energy out of the present moment. Where? Into the past, because that's where your attention is. But you catch yourself doing it. Now that's the victory. Catching yourself is the victory. Yeah, and the first time you get frustrated, like, oh, I should be able to do this. Really, you're not that good. You don't practice this that much. I was talking to my youngest son because my kids actually don't curse, but I curse a lot with my kids. And never mind, I'm not even going to tell you that story. So anyway, I forgot I was on the, I gotta behave. Anyway, where was I anyway? Where am I? The what? Oh, the victory. That's what I'm talking about. So I said to my son, well, I just won't curse. He's like, what do you want to bet? I'm like, I'll bet anything you want to bet. Okay, we bet. 5 minutes later, I let out the F-bomb, just like that. So I went unconscious, yes? Now I have two choices. One choice is to get frustrated, and if I'm frustrated, I'm in my future or my past. And if I'm frustrated in my past, more than likely, I'm going to do it again, because that's what the past does. It does it again. Are you with me still? That's when I play golf with my friends. I always say to them, listen, I haven't played in a year, and I'm just not good enough to get upset. So I'm just going to have a lot of fun. So I put the ball down, and when I swing, I say, joy! And I hit the ball. And they're like, oh, he's losing it. Get away from him. But if they blow up, right, they duff a shot, I always love to dig them a little bit, because they get angry or frustrated, and I always say, hey, how you doing? You doing all right? You seem frustrated, And we're playing, for skins, or we're playing for I was like, wow, you don't look good at all. You all right? And I'm like, then I say, well, if you were to name that emotion, what would it be? And all I want them to do is, get really, because I know they're going to do it on the next shot. They're going to do the exact same thing they did on the last shot and this shot if they're living by the same emotion. They're just going to repeat the process. They're in their past. Yes or no? And then I say to them, you see that tree there? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to step into my think box, and I am going to loft this ball right over that tree with my wedge. It's going to land about 10 feet from the pin, and I am going to rejoice. In fact, I'm going to rejoice before I hit it. And they say, well, there's a tree in the way. And I say, I don't see a tree. Anyway, where am I going with this? So anyway, it's a victory when you catch yourself when you go unconscious, yes? If you get frustrated, you're getting in your own way again. And where's your brain waves going? High beta. Ooh, frustration does a lot of high beta. But if you just go up, I went unconscious. Okay, let me get back. It's that simple act of creating the habit of staying conscious. And consciousness is awareness. And now you are conserving energy because you are managing your attention. And when you manage your attention, you manage your energy. Are you with me still? So if you keep doing this, keep returning back to the present moment, keep returning back to the present moment, keep doing it over and over again, you're training the animal. Are you not? And sooner or later, the animal's going to go, it's bigger than me. It's got more discipline than me. I'm going to surrender. I'm going to give up. I'm going to commit. And now the body's no longer the mind. You're the mind. And there's a liberation, a dramatic liberation of energy into the field of that person. And the person is freeing themselves from the chains of the past. And that then produces the side effect called joy. Are you with me still? So then doing this properly over time, keep committing to the present moment. You're disinvesting your attention and energy out of the past and you're pulling it into the present moment. Then the body says, well, now it's 12 o'clock and then you usually eat lunch and then you got to take a nap. So I want to take a nap. And you're saying, really? I'm in the middle of a meditation. We're not taking a nap now. Yeah, but I'm really tired. Well, straighten up. I'll tell you when we're taking a nap, but not now. Now, you are training your body by making that choice and taking it where? Out of the known where? And now the unknown could be uncomfortable, but you have choices. One choice is to suffer through it. You probably did that this week in the beginning, and that wasn't any fun, was it? And then you said, well, maybe I should just apply the formula. Maybe I should create some brain and heart coherence to see if I do that properly, that all of a sudden I feel good in the unknown. And you turn it around and you say, I survived the unknown. And all of a sudden, your barrier for comfort begins to expand. The box of your identity begins to grow. And you survived and you're more happy and satisfied with yourself. You feel more whole. And when you feel more whole, you're trying less. You're not figuring things out. You're kind of poised and spontaneous, confident and clear. You're resourceful. That's who you are when you're not living in survival. Are you with me still? And if you keep doing this, keep returning back to the present moment, if you keep practicing staying present in your meditations, if where you place your attention is where you place your energy, and you have all of your attention in the present moment, you have a lot of energy in the present moment now, don't you? And now you wouldn't be tired at the end of the day. You would have energy at the end of the day because you managed your attention in the present moment. And you know when someone's present with you in your life because they're paying attention to you. Yes or no? So when you're not paying attention, for the most part, people go unconscious. Are you with me still? So then, we now know that heart incoherence is created by the hormones of stress. When you're stepping on the gas and the brake at the same time, you're aroused, but you can't do anything about it. And as you step on the gas and the brake at the same time, the heart starts beating against itself. The arteries constrict and it's pumping harder and it's pumping against the closed system, and that's damaging to the heart. How many people understand? And you keep practicing that, the heart's going to race on its own without you because you're conditioning it that way. How many people understand? So then, when you're under the gun of those hormonal chemicals that are derived from stress, every single person, every single thing, every single place, every single experience, everything known to you has a neurological network mapped in your brain. And the arousal of the stress hormones causes you want to try to control everything in your life, to try to predict and make sure everything's safe. And yet stress is created by the fact that you can't control something. You can't predict something, and you have the perception that something's going to get worse. So then if it's those things that create the survival response, and you want the unknown, you want something new in your life, then you're going to have to lay down the very thing you've used your whole life to get what you want for an outcome and do something differently. Would you agree? And that takes a great effort. So then as you shift your attention from one person to one problem to another thing to another person to another meeting, you're activating these different associated neurological networks in your brain. Yes or no? Come on. So you're putting your attention on everything known, and everything known is mapped in your neocortex, yes or no? You're also analyzing because the stress hormones are causing you to try to predict the future based on the past. And now when you do this over and over again, you begin to cause your brain to become overly analytical and you move into high beta. And that becomes the junkie state. You just need to keep thinking to keep creating those same chemicals to give you a rush of energy. And now you're in trouble. Yes or no? And what we could say then, you become addicted to the life you don't even like. Yes or no? And that's why change is so hard. And if there's a thought that's turning it on, then you get addicted to your own thoughts. And then when you stop thinking those thoughts, just like anybody who's breaking an addiction, there's a craving that goes on. Come on. It's day 2. You didn't suffer yesterday when you just suffer today. Just suffer the whole day. You'll get some attention doing it. Don't worry. Someone else will be suffering with you. You know how that goes. So then, every person, every object, everything, every place has a neurological network in your brain. Jack your brain up. Get it aroused because of stress, and now you're going to try to control and predict everyone and everything in your life, and you're going to shift your attention from one person to another problem, to another meeting, to another thing, and you're going to activate these circuits in your brain. And like a lightning storm in the clouds, each one of these different associated compartments are going to begin to compartmentalize more and separate from one another, and now the brain becomes compartmentalized. And if you were to study the brain, scan the brain when a person's doing this, these different neurological networks lighting up out of order creates a lot of incoherence in the brain. Different compartments are not communicating with one another. Different compartments are changing channels, and the person can't hold any thought or any attention. And when the brain is incoherent, you're incoherent. When the brain isn't working right, you're not working right. And people get stuck in these states, and they need the drug. They need whatever they need to make that change, to make the feeling go away. And yet, it's not the feeling. It's the mismanagement of their attention and their energy. Are you with me still? So then the stronger the emotion that you feel from some problem or condition in your life, the more you narrow your focus on the cause. Yes or no? And if where you place your attention is where you place your energy, your senses under the hormones of stress, as I said earlier, confuse you into the illusion that you're separate from everyone and everything, everything material. Are you with me still? And now we're local in space and time. And when you want to create something in your life, okay, you're going to have to drag your body through space. And when you do, you experience time. And when you're matter trying to change matter, you may get your goals, but you got to have a lot of skills in place, and you got to get your behaviors to match your intentions every day, and you got to be disciplined in order for it to happen. And it may take 20 years, but at least you strategized and got it, matter to matter. And people take a long time to create things they want in their life because of separation. And when you're playing by the rules of Newtonian physics in three-dimensional reality, we're defining reality with our senses in this realm called space-time. And in space-time, in this three-dimensional reality, there's an infinite amount of space, yes or no? And you experience time as you move through space. So one point of awareness to another point of awareness, I'm here, the back door is over there, I'm aware where I am, I'm local in space and time as an identity, and I have my attention, and another point, another awareness. And as I move my body from one point of consciousness, one point of awareness to another point of awareness, as I move through space or I collapse space, it takes me time. Yes or no? So this world, this three-dimensional reality, is made up of matter. It's the material world we perceive with our senses. Throw in the hormones of stress, and now your senses are heightened, and now you're really a materialist. And you're separate from everyone and everything. And in the realm of separation is the realm of duality or polarity, waiting for something out there, our dreams to come true, to take away the emptiness or the lack that we feel inside of us. And people don't know this. They spend their whole life living in lack, waiting for their life to change, unconsciously forgetting that they create their life. Are you with me still? That means then you can't wait for your healing to feel gratitude and wholeness. You can't wait for your wealth to feel abundance. You can't wait for your success to feel empowerment. You can't wait for your new relationship to feel love or the mystical moment to feel awe. That's the old model of reality of cause and effect, waiting for something to change our inner world. And so then people spend their whole entire life defining themselves as a body. When you're under the hormones of stress, The arousal causes you to put all your attention on your body. If you're living in a habit, then you are your body. If you're connected to pain, to emotions, to habits, to stress, to drives, then it's your body running your mind. Are you with me still? The environment is made up of bodies, people, objects, things, animals, plants. And if you place all of your attention on your outer environment, because the stronger the emotion you feel to some person or something, the more you pay attention to them, then it makes sense then that you're hooked or connected to everything known in your environment, because that's where your attention is. Are you with me still? And if you're living in the familiar past or the predictable future, we see time as something very linear in this three-dimensional reality. There's a past, a present, and a future. And you can tell the story about the past really well. The problem is 50% of it isn't even the truth. That people make stuff up because they don't have the same brain, all to reaffirm the emotions of their past, to excuse themselves on why they think it's so hard to change. Are you with me still? So then this is the realm where people become the somebody, the someone, the something, the somewhere, and sometime. This becomes the autobiographical self. And the further away you are in separation from the unified field, the slowest frequency called matter, things tend to break down if they're just material. It's called entropy in the universe. Are you with me still? Come on. Yes. So our research shows that when you are living under the chemical reaction of the stress hormones and you're narrowing your focus this way, that's called a convergent focus or an object focus. Are you with me still? If you were to do the exact opposite and go from a narrow focus, a convergent focus, to a divergent focus, to a broadened focus, to an open focus, and take your attention off of everything material, and take your attention off your body, so much attention off your body that you forget that you have a body. And that's the moment you're nobody. This is the formula. The moment you take your attention off your ex, your coworker, your boss, your cell phone, your computer, your car, your hairstyle, you will go from someone to no one, because you have no attention on anybody else. You don't identify with anyone or anything. If you take your attention off the objects, something to nothing, from where you're sitting, where you work, where you sleep, where you live, go from somewhere to nowhere. And from some time, the predictable future, the familiar past, to the generous present moment outside of time, the unknown, that is the moment when you become pure consciousness. That is the moment you are slipping into the quantum field. This is the eye of the needle, and you can't enter it with your body. In other words, in order for you to heal your body, you got to get beyond your body. How many people understand? And the moment you become nobody, no one, no thing, nowhere, and no time, you're getting beyond the identity called the known self. And when you do this properly, and you begin to open your awareness into this endless space, and all I want you to do, sensing space, the act of opening your focus and putting your attention on nothing material, but on energy. If the unified field is a unifying energy that connects everything physical, if you as a consciousness can latch on to a frequency and it is highly coherent, then it should be reflected as coherence in your brain. Yes or no? So then as your brain waves fall from beta to alpha, we're not just looking for any kind of alpha. We want to see the brain starting to synchronize. We want to see it starting to become more whole, to become more unified. And we can see on brain scans, all of a sudden, different compartments, different neurological networks that were out of sync begin to synchronize. They begin to become more whole. And what syncs in the brain, links in the brain. And all of a sudden, the person starts feeling more like themselves than they had in a long time. And those individual compartments, those individual communities are now resonating to the same frequency. When you see the left side of the brain and the right side of the brain starting to come together, you're going to see some type of psychic union. The union of polarities, the union of dualities, that is called oneness or wholeness. And the ceiling of this three-dimensional reality is the speed of light. And when you get beyond this place where E equals mc squared, you move to the fourth dimension called time. And if matter is accelerated to the speed of light squared, the currency converter from matter to energy is the speed of light. And it's the speed of light then, nothing can travel faster than the speed of light that's material before it turns into pure energy. And now you enter the realm, fifth dimensional reality and beyond, called the quantum. Now, imagine the quantum field is the inverse of three-dimensional reality. The quantum has an infinite amount of time. In the quantum field, time is eternal. Now imagine, if you had all the time in the world, you could get a lot of stuff done. Yes or no? Infinite possibilities equal to your imagination if you had all the time in the world. Yes? Well, that's exactly what the quantum field is. Time. There is no space in the quantum field. There's nothing that could occupy space. And anything that occupies space creates space. So if there's no space in the three-dimensional reality, we took everybody in this room, we put them together, close as we possibly could, there would still be space. Yes or no? Because you're a body, yes? But if in order for us to get beyond space and time, we would have to collapse everybody in this room and everything in this room to the tiniest point where there's no longer any space. And if there's no longer any space, there can't be time. And so that quantum field is that small point of singularity where everything physical comes from. And that means you can only enter as a thought. That's the only thing that's going to slip in there. Are you with me still? Now you enter the realm of consciousness. You enter the realm of frequency, energy, vibration, information. You enter the realm of thought. This is the particle in quantum physics. Time, space is the wave function. You know what wave function means? Probability. The electron could be anywhere. Nobody knows where it is. So when you enter this realm, you leave the realm of locality. Nothing physical is occupying space and time. Everything is non-local. It's possibility. This is the world of the predictable. This is the world of the unpredictable. In the quantum, there's possibility, but you're in a frequency or energy that connects everything physical. And so in this realm, there's no separation between bodies. There's no separation between things. There's no separation between light. There's no separation between places. That everything is connected by energy. So information can pass from one piece of matter to another piece of matter outside of time. Are you with me still? Come on, that bounced off some of you. There's no time here. Wherever you think you are, you are. So then, now you're in a realm where time is eternal. You're in the eternal present moment. You have an infinite amount of time. So if you have an infinite amount of time, then all possibilities could exist when? Now. So then instead of having reality as linear like this with a past, present, and future, what if you took all these and you turned them this way and you placed it vertical here? Now you have a past, present, and future happening when? Simultaneously. Now, you move from one point of consciousness to another point of consciousness. If you move faster, it takes a shorter amount of time. But you got to go somewhere, yes? If you move slower, it takes a longer amount of time, yes? But now there's no place to go here because there's no space. You're the source. You're connected to the all in all. Where would you go? Wherever you thought. So then, if you begin to change your frequency to a faster frequency, you will leave the place that you're aware of and go to another place that you're aware of. Are you with me still? So we move through time and we experience spaces by changing our frequency. And its frequency then becomes the measurement or the converter for us to experience different dimensions. And all those dimensions exist in the eternal now. Here's your wealth, here's your freedom, here's your health, here's your love, or better yet, all of those can just be one of them. And just like standing in a bathroom in the airport where you have a mirror here and a mirror here, and you look in and you wave to yourself and you see an infinite number of views, that's exactly how the quantum field is. And when I say you come back to a new body, if you do this meditation right and you feel differently, you changed neurocircuitry, you changed neurochemistry, you changed gene expression, you changed hormones, you changed immune regulation. We know that. And when I say come back to a new environment, I mean when you come back to your senses and your body is different, you are going to step into a dimension that looks just like this dimension. Everything is going to be exactly the same. People are going to look the same. You can tap them on the forehead. You look just like the guy in the other one. Yeah, I am him. But something is going to be different. There's going to be a synchronicity, a weirdness, a uniqueness. You slipped over into one of those dimensions, one of those boxes. And when we get real good, we slip over several of them. We would call that an instantaneous healing or an instantaneous change or a shift in your life. And you're in a new body. You're in a new environment and you're a whole new time. And so people who do this work, they stand on the stage and they had Parkinson's and they couldn't swallow and they couldn't blow their nose and they couldn't drink water and they couldn't smile and they couldn't stand up, and now they're blowing their nose, now they're swallowing, now they're chewing, now they're standing up on their own. They're in a new body. Yes or no? Yes. They're in a new life, in a new environment, yes? And they're in a whole new time in their life. Would you agree? Yes. So then when we go from a narrow focus to a broad focus, and we do this properly, and we open our awareness, and we tune into energy and information, we are connecting to the quantum field. And the quantum field is an invisible field of energy and information that's beyond space and time. There's no bodies, there's no objects, there's no people, there's no things, there's no places. It's an infinite field of non-locality, of the wave function of the quantum. And of course then, as we change our frequencies, there's a vibrational match. When you can connect to this field of energy and you begin to hold a clear intention, a coherent brain, married with an elevated emotion, a coherent heart. And now you have coherence from the brain and coherence from the heart. And now you have a strong signal in the field. And now you are producing a very clear syntropic message in the quantum field that can be read, because the more coherent the frequency, the more coherent the information on that frequency. And now, if thought is the electrical charge and feeling is the magnetic charge, you are broadcasting a very coherent signature into the field. And when there's a vibrational match between your energy and that potential in the quantum field, and you're creating from the source where everything physical exists, you now do not go anywhere. Where would you go if you're connected to source? There's no place to go. You're the source. You're the energy that's creating everything physical. So now you're no longer playing by the rules of Newtonian physics. You're playing by the rules of quantum physics. And when there's a vibrational match between your energy and some potential in the quantum field, and you're creating from the source, there's your future somewhere out there in your mind, but it's really not there. It's really where? And when there's a vibrational match between your energy and that future, you are going to collapse one point of consciousness, that dream of yours, towards another point of consciousness called you. And when you collapse 2 points of consciousness, you are collapsing space and time. And now you are warping space and time, and you are drawing the experience to you. And now you no longer have to go anywhere to get it. You are the magnet to your destiny. How many people understand? So now, a couple last points before we break, and then when we come back, we'll do a heart and brain coherence meditation. So then our research shows that the formula for brain coherence is becoming nobody, no one, no thing, nowhere, and no time, becoming pure consciousness. And then, once you're pure consciousness, if you could connect to a field, a frequency, you can't experience it with your senses, you can only experience it with your awareness. And I said, tune in to the frequency of oneness, wholeness, unifying energy. Find it, feel it, stay connected to it, stay aware of it, become more aware of it and less aware of you. Lose yourself in that feeling. If you did this properly, would you agree then your nervous system should start to entrain? Yes or no? And when those two hemispheres begin to synchronize and the brain waves go from alpha down into theta, now lights are out in the neocortex. You are no longer aware of three-dimensional reality. We could say now the door between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind is so wide open that you can fill it with whatever you want. And now you'll accept, believe, and surrender that information. And as you suppress this brain, we have the research to show that our students do this really well, and they do it really fast. They know that they know how to do it. It's a skill. And our research that was just analyzed by Bond University on the Gold Coast, outstanding proof that our student body knows the formula, that they can create that kind of coherence. And when the brain, the neocortex is in theta, and there's no brain activity in there, you're suppressing information from that three-dimensional reality that you get through your senses. And there's only one other place where information comes from, and that's the frequency of the field. And when you suppress that neocortex and you learn how to activate the limbic brain in the pineal gland, and all of a sudden you begin to dial into different frequencies. The pineal gland will transduce that frequency like a radio or TV antenna into profound imagery. And now the person is getting a download from the field. And that information then is scattered throughout their neurological tissue, and now they have information that's no longer coming from their memory bank or from their environment. They're getting a download of energy that literally is a frequency that's carrying information. And then the side effect of that many times is the person gets a biological upgrade. In a second, they have a change in their health. In a second, they have a change in their life, because it's not matter that's emitting the field. It's the field that's creating matter. And when they hook up to a frequency, that frequency begins to inform itself into matter. How many people understand? And the person then becomes enlightened. They begin to open their eyes, and now they're perceiving what has always existed, but they didn't have the circuits in place to perceive it, because we don't see things how they are, we see things how we are. And all of a sudden now, the person now can see a greater slice of reality. How many people understand? So, one quick story before we break, and we'll have Victoria come up here. I was running an event, it's a crazy story. I was running an event in Amelia Island for our event in events follow-up, and I was trying to figure out a way to explain to the students these fractal patterns, these standing waves of energy that many of our advanced students see before a mystical experience. It's just a packet of information, interference of coherent energy. And I was just up all night and got down and laid down for a minute, just finished my meditation, and the next thing you know, I see one of those patterns with my eyes closed up to my left. So I kind of become aware of it, and it just, like a shade, it just pulls down, and there's this beautiful, glorious being there. And I, in my mind, say, oh shit, and I hear this thing laugh, like melodious, beautiful. And I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to explain it to the audience. And in my head, telepathically, it said, I don't know what it was, said, may I suggest a barcode? And then I thought, what the hell are you doing in supermarkets anyway? Like, what do you go to supermarkets? Like, you hang out in supermarkets? And it laughed again, and then it gave me the image. And it's exactly what it is. If you're going to read a code, like a barcode, you need a laser. And what is laser? Coherent light, not just any light, very organized light. So then in order for you to read information in the field, you need a coherent brain and a coherent heart, because that is the laser that's going to read or decode that fractal pattern. How many people understand? And the more coherent our student body is, the more they're able to read it. Just one after the next, after the next, after the next. And we can actually see in brain scans now. In brain scans, we can see like a big dump. The pattern, the energy goes way up in the brain just like for 4 seconds. Now the door's open. Person's getting a signal, like a kind of a half a signal. They go after it again, another minute, 2 minutes later. Now it's for 10 seconds, and it's just looks like a snowstorm. And then we can say in that moment, if she keeps this up, hang on, because she's going to pop. Well, what does that mean? Well, there's going to be an arousal. What do you mean arousal? I'm talking about when they really hook up to a big frequency, their energy in their brain is going to go off the chart. And not only are they going to have more energy in their brain, but it's going to be more coherent. Not a little coherent, like a lot coherent. And now, when that person switches on, they move into gamma brainwave patterns. And in gamma, there is an arousal. But the arousal that's created in gamma from this meditation is not coming from some threat in the outer environment that's causing fear or aggression or pain. The arousal that's being created in the body is being released up right into the brain, and it's causing bliss. It's causing ecstasy. And the information that the person is experiencing is outside of the known. They are connecting to the part of the self called the unknown self. And in order for them to get there, they have to suppress the very mechanism that keeps them connected to their body, their environment, to time, and everything known in their life. And when this happens, we see the same exact patterns over and over and over again. And the amplitudes of energy in theta are now way outside of normal in our student body. And when we see it, we know that theta is going to be the wave that carries alpha, like an octave, like a harmonic. And the brain switches on into that super aroused state, and the person goes into ecstasy or bliss. The internal experience is creating such a change in their emotional state that they can't stop paying attention to the pictures that their brain is creating. And in a sense, then, they're rewiring their brain. In a sense, they're remolding their identity. At the same time, the amount of love that the person's feeling when they connect to this resource of intelligent love opens their heart. At the same time, these two hemispheres come together. The union of polarity, duality, is called wholeness and oneness. And here comes the heart. And that heart begins to open up. And when it opens up, the person is feeling graced, literally blessed to be alive. And that oxytocin that's released signals nitric oxide. Nitric oxide signals a chemical to cause the arteries in the heart that were once constricted because of a trauma or a bruise to literally vasodilate and expand. And just like when your sexual organs are aroused, energy moves right into the center, and there's an engorgement of blood, and the intensity of love would match the intensity of passion in a different center. Are you understanding what I'm talking about? And when that happens, there's afferent fibers that go right up to the amygdala, the survival center in the brain, and it literally, through the vagus nerve, resets the baseline for trauma. And now the person is relaxed in the present moment, and they're no longer looking around the corner expecting the danger to occur. They've mastered some aspect of themselves, and they were healed by love. How many people understand? So, before we break, I'm going to call up Victoria, who is an example of truth. I thought maybe we would do a testimonial before the break. What do you think? Come on up. Where are you? Victoria. Oh, there you are. Yeah. Woo-hoo.
Hi. Thank you, Dr. Joe. Hi. So before I start, I want to say thank you for being here and giving me this opportunity. I'm not scared of heights, so the challenge earlier on this week was pretty easy, but this is my own personal challenge because public speaking is not my forte.
It is now.
But I want to give back to the community that has given me so much. 15 years ago, I was diagnosed with Crohn's.
Crohn's disease.
Crohn's
You've heard
disease. Of it? Digestive issues. My whole life plagued me. And
tell them how inconvenient Crohn's disease is.
well, it's especially inconvenient because you don't want to talk about the symptoms. It took my whole life away from me. And I was introduced to this work in 2010 when a doctor offered a colostomy bag for me. And I didn't obviously want to do that. And there happened to be a movie called What the Bleep Do We Know that I watched. I don't know if you've noticed, but that movie never mentions the word meditation. But it does say that if you change your choices and how you feel about yourself, your life will change and you will get your health back. And I was desperate. So at the time, I sold my shares in a company I founded with one other person. I left Hong Kong. I broke off my engagement. And I moved to Florida, to a sleepy little town, to be with my mom to take care of me. It was the furthest environment from where I came from. It was the perfect environment to not be who I used to be. It was great, and I got better. For 5 years, I was medication free. I had no colostomy bag. But what I did have is I had a prison where I had to control every possible trigger. So I created this new environment that helped me stay healthy. What I didn't realize I did was I created an external environment that helped me stay healthy. So I focused very carefully on what I ate. I would walk the beach for 3 miles every single day. I would be too scared to start a family, although I wanted that more than anything in the world. Until one fateful day, I met my husband, who is here with me, and he proposed on our second date. And
That's a fast track.
and it's been amazing. What that did do is it changed my carefully controlled environment. And I actually went back to a life resembling a life that was similar to when I got sick.
Hang on a second. I don't think you understand what she's saying here. Do you understand that she insulated herself from anything in her environment that would trigger her? Whether it was emotional, whether it was diet, whether it was chemical, whether it was physical, she insulated herself from everyone or everything that could possibly elicit a response in her. So she's taking care of the effect and not the cause, right? So she's trapped, as she said, in her own world because she can't do anything that she wants to do. She thinks that eliminating and doing everything right is the answer, but her fear about stepping out of the known into the unknown is starting to be a loud voice in her head. So she's realizing she's got to do something else. How many people understand?
So for 3 years, I lived a different life. I lived in Chicago, a big city. There was an extra layer of stress. 6 months of winter I was not equipped to handle and very new for me. So for